Hello students, how are you all? I just hope that you all are safe and you all must be studying at home. Now students, as I told you earlier also that soon your first term examination is going to start and your paper will be of each subject will be of 60 marks. That means 40 for text and 20 for internal assessment. Okay. Now marks for internal assessment will be given on the basis of home assignments. Okay, how many assignments that you are sending, how properly you are doing it, and how regularly you are sending it to me. Okay, so kindly be regular with your assignments and regular with your studies. And your syllabus is from 1st to 10th assignment. Okay. Now 8 assignments we have done so far. Now 2 more assignments will be sent to you, and then you have to complete all the assignments right from 1st to 10th, and this is your syllabus for your first term examination. Okay, just go through all the question answers, all the exercises that we have done of the chapters that we have done. Okay, till 10th assignment. So students, start preparing your chapters, start preparing all the question answers and all the exercises. Okay. Now students, let us continue chapter number 2, okay, of kingdom classification. Now students, earlier we did kingdom Monera, we did kingdom Protista. Now today we'll be doing kingdom Fungi or kingdom Fungi. Okay. Now see what are the characteristics of this kingdom. So let us start here with the first one. Fungi are non-green, lacking chlorophyll. Means fungi, they the members of this kingdom, they are non-green. Non-green means they are not green in color. They lack chlorophyll. That means they do not have chlorophyll. Now what is the function of chlorophyll? As I told you earlier also, that chlorophyll is that pigment that imparts green color to the plant. Okay, and not just imparting green color, it also absorbs sunlight. Okay, it also absorbs sun's energy. And why plants they need sun's energy? They need sun's energy to prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, but the member of this kingdom, they do not have chlorophyll. Okay, they lack chlorophyll. They do not have chlorophyll, so they do not prepare their own food. And they are eukaryotic organisms. Eukaryotic organisms means they have well-defined nucleus. Okay, and they have cell organelles. Okay, now comes fungi may be unicellular or multicellular. Now fungi, they can be unicellular and they can be multicellular also. Unicellular means made up of one cell or made up of single cell. Okay, single celled organism. Or multicellular means made up of many cells. Okay, like animals, plants, human beings. Okay, we all are multicellular organisms. Now the example of unicellular fungus is yeast. Okay, yeast. And example of multicellular fungi are bread mold, penicillium, mushrooms that we eat. Those are multicellular fungi. Okay, now comes fungi are heterotrophic in nutrition. Okay, what is their mode of nutrition? Then comes mode of nutrition in fungi. Okay, so they are heterotrophic. That means they do not prepare their own food. Just now I told you they lack chlorophyll. They do not have chlorophyll. Okay, so they do not have chlorophyll, so they do not they don't trap sun's energy for the process of photosynthesis. So that's why they do not prepare their own food. Okay, so they are heterotrophic in nature, or they are heterotrophic in nutrition. That means they depend on other organisms. It can be dead organisms, it can be living organisms for their food. Okay, so the food that they eat, it is obtained from either from dead organism or from living organisms. If they are obtaining their food from dead organisms, then they are called saprophytic plants. Okay, or we can say that fungi, they obtain their food saprophytically. That means from dead organisms, or they obtain their food parasitically. Parasitically means they get their food from living organisms. Okay, living organism, living plants or animals. Okay, so this is how fungi, they obtain their food. Then comes reproduction. Now what do you mean by reproduction? Reproduction means multiplication. That means how they multiply themselves, how they increase their number, how they increase their population. They increase their number by binary fission. This term you must have heard in amoeba also, that amoeba, it multiplies by binary fission. Okay, or it divides itself by binary fission. So fungi also, the reproduction, it takes place by binary fission, then budding, then regeneration of fragments, or through spore formation. Okay, so these are the various methods of reproduction in fungi. Okay, here just now I told you unicellular fungus, which is yeast. Now yeast reproduces itself by budding. Okay, and multicellular fungi called bread mold, it reproduces itself by spore formation. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you about the reproduction, nutrition in bread mold. Okay, so let us study that. Now students, let us study about the different types of fungi. Let us see their structures, how they look. So the first one is yeast. Okay, this is a unicellular fungus. This is yeast. The second one, yes, this, it looks very familiar. This is mushroom. Okay, and some of the mushrooms we eat, those mushrooms are edible. And the C one is penicillium. Okay, and the last one is the aspergillus. So these are the different types of fungi. Okay, now students, just now I told you about the characteristics of members of fungi. Now we are going to study about bread mold. Now bread mold is a multicellular fungus. Okay, and we are going to study about bread mold, its reproduction, its nutrition. Okay, and how it looks, its structure also. So you must have observed white cottony mass on the rotten bread. Okay, this is a rotten bread. Can you see this? This is a rotten bread, and the cottony mass that you observe on the rotten bread is the bread mold. Okay, so and if we look very closer to the these cottony mass, and if we see this cottony mass under a microscope, then they look like this. Okay, the structure look like this. This is called bread mold. Now students, let us study the structure of bread mold. Okay, or we can say let us study the structure of rhizopus, also known as bread mold. Okay, so this is the structure of bread mold. Now, just now I told you that bread mold is a multicellular fungus. Okay, now the cottony white structures or cottony white growth on rotten bread, it consists of thread-like structures like this. Okay, thread-like structures or thread-like filaments called hyphae. Okay, this is called hyphae, and the network of this hyphae is called mycelium. Okay, this structure, this network is called mycelium. And when this hyphae grow horizontally on the surface of the bread, and some hyphae they grow downwards also, like this, downwards also. So this filaments or this hyphae, they are also known as rhizoid when it grows downwards. Now some of the hyphae they grow upwards also. Okay, and these structures or the hyphae that grow upwards, they are called sporangiophores. Okay, sporangiophores. And these sporangiophores, all you can see here, all these are sporangiophores, and all these sporangiophores, what they contain? They consist of a round ball-like structure here at the tip, and these round ball-like structures, they are called sporangia. What they are called? Sporangia. Okay, and these sporangia, they contain what? They contain spores like this. Okay, now students, let us talk about the nutrition in bread mold. Bread mold, they are saprophytic in nature. That means they depend on dead and decaying matter for their food. Okay, or we can say that food is obtained through dead or decaying matter. Here in case you can see, just now I told you that this is a rotten bread and these are bread molds. Okay, so what bread molds are doing? They are obtaining their food from the stale bread or rotten bread. Okay, now comes the respiration in bread mold. In bread mold, respiration is aerobic. Aerobic means where oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is released out. Okay, so here in bread mold, the respiration is aerobic. Now let us talk about the some harmful and useful fungi. Okay, now harmful fungi are the fungi that damages food product, paper, leather, paint, textile, etc. And some fungi, what they do? They cause disease in crops. For example, Puccinia and Astillego in crops, and in human beings, fungi like Microsporium, then Arthroderma, and in animals, Dactylella and Arthrobotrys. Okay, so these are the fungi that causes diseases in crops, human beings, and in animals. Then there are some mushrooms like toadstools that are poisonous, and some are useful mushrooms like that we eat. Those are edible mushrooms. Okay, now one beautiful mushroom, Amanita, contains a poison deadly to humans. So all mushrooms are not edible. Some are edible and some are poisonous. Okay, then comes useful fungi. Now students, let us talk about some useful fungi. So first is some fungi such as mushrooms, they are edible, that we eat, are useful to us. Okay, and some are poisonous. Now yeast, yeast, they are used in bakeries. Okay, now some fungi, they produce antibiotics. You know what are antibiotics? Antibiotics, they are medicines that are used when we get ill, when we get infected. Okay, so antibiotics are used to treat infections and diseases. For example, antibiotic like penicillin, it is obtained from fungus Penicillium. Okay, then another fungus is also there, Aspergillus, which is used for producing large quantities of citric acid, and these citric acid, they are used in soft drink industry. Okay, to make soft drinks. Now students, just now I told you that yeast, they are used in bakeries to make breads, cakes, pastries, etc. Now yeast, they are also used in wine industry, okay, because they are used to make wines and beers from fruit juices. So because what they do, yeast, what they do, they brings fermentation of sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide, okay. Now in our day-to-day life also, what we use yeast for fermentation, like we eat idli and dosa, so we use yeast there also, and in other food products also we use yeast for fermentation. Now saprophytic fungi, what they do, they break down dead material for their own food, okay. So and then what they do, they return to the soil chemicals. So this way, what these saprophytic fungi, they do, they recycle the nutrients, okay, they are recycling the nutrients. Then aspergillus and penicillium, just now I told you that they are used, one is used for antibiotics and other one is used in soft drink industry. Now they are also used in they are also added to cheese to give it a special flavor, okay. So this is all about the how fungi, they are useful to us, okay.